Happy Friday, YouTube. Hope you guys had a great week. You know, I wanted to jump on here real quick and talk to you guys all about building an agency. And a lot of you guys are just getting into the business and you're being encouraged to recruit, to share the opportunity with somebody else. And hey, that's okay. I'm cool with that. If you're having success, not just 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and you can afford to train somebody else, then go for it. Go ahead and recruit somebody. But you know, unfortunately, most of the time, when you're recruiting at a pace that you can't train your people, you're going to lose people. Again, you know, 92% of agents fail year one. Talented, hard workers, smart, etc. But why is it that so many of them fail? That's something interesting, right? You know, what's crazy is that when I started building my team, you know, I started building it because people were reaching out to me because they wanted to know what I was doing because I was having success. But I wasn't actively recruiting folk. In over 18 years, there was a point in my life where I was that recruiter. At one point in time, I was recruiting over 100 people a month to my agency, 100 people a month. In fact, we had a formula that worked for us in terms of recruiting. We knew that if we recruited 100 contracts, 100 people every single month, we would be at $100,000 a month in annualized premium. We had to figure it out. But out of that formula, we never factored in how many of those 100 people were going to be successful. I played that game for years. I did that. I'm guilty of it. But I also paid the price. You see, when you recruit at a level that is so high, and it's easy to recruit because you can flash, you can show off, you can buy a fancy car. I mean, there's so many ways to impress people, especially on social media, that you can get people to call you and join your team and recruit them. But, you know, taking the time to train people, that takes time. It's not easy. And it took me years to understand that. And what I did when I finally figured out that, yes, I'm writing a bunch of AP, I'm recruiting a bunch of people, but at the end of the month, I'm losing money. Because, let's face it, you recruit 100 people. 92% of those people fail. And let's say each one of those recruits within the first month, they wrote an app or two, right? And then you lose them because they go to somewhere else, another opportunity. Because one, you didn't have the time to train them. You couldn't support them. You couldn't help them. They're going to move on. And in most cases, there's not going to be nobody there to support the customers that they wrote, creating a chargeback. That's one of the biggest ways that you lose money, because those chargebacks will eventually roll up to you as the agency builder. Think about it. So yeah, you recruit 100 people into an opportunity and they're gung-ho and they're excited and their whole dreams are in front of them. But within a month, they're gone. Roll up debt, chargebacks. That shit creeps up on you. And I've been doing this long enough to tell you this, that it's better to grow slower, train people right. You're still going to lose people. But again, as my friend Ron would say, I would rather have a small organization making money than this big ass organization and I'm pinching pennies at the end of the month. So if you're watching this and you're with a group that is motivating you to recruit more than sell, there's an issue. And I promise you, you're going to have some chargeback issues. That's a fact. Look, I work for several carriers at a different level, bonus level. And I get to see, how many of each of these carriers, of their agents make it on the trip. And these carriers have thousands of agents. But if you take a closer look, you'll notice that less than 3% of insurance carriers' staff make it on their company trips. Now, I understand that most of agents have 1, 2, 3, 4 carriers. I get it. So you're spreading your business throughout several carriers, which is cool. But again, the amount of carriers that are paying for trips every year, the amount of agents, it's a very, very small percentage. And then combine that with the amount of agents that fail year one, you're going to find out that many fail. And why do they fail? Training, leads, and carrier support. Those are like the 3 major ones. But I'm going to tell you a quick story. Years ago, I was invited to a insurance conference of insurance carriers. I was invited to this conference. And at this conference, an old timer comes up on the podium and asks everybody, why is it that, the average age for a life agent is a 59-year-old male and the youngsters are not getting into the business? Everybody that's in the insurance business understands that this business creates the most millionaires in the world. But again, why isn't the youngsters joining? At the time, I was like 32 years old, sitting in that room. And I was probably one of the younger guys in that whole conference. Another gentleman from another carrier, and I'm not going to mention the carrier, steps up to the podium and reaches up to the podium and says, the reason that a lot of the youngsters are not getting into the business is because the sales distribution is broken. You see, when most of us started our careers in the 60s and 70s, we were doing debit routes. We were collecting premiums. We were doing referrals. We were building relationships. But when the lead system came into play, we got away from training people from start to finish. And that really blew my brains because I said to myself, imagine we're selling insurance, a complicated product in many ways. And how many leaders are really spending the time and training their staff? Not just being a presenter and selling a dream, really showing their staff, their agents. And if you have 1,000 agents, do you have the training for them? And the reality is a lot of people got away from training, doing what was right, because they were more focused on recruiting people to sell. That's an issue. And for me, as I see this high rate of people failing in our business, it really brings me back to that point that you got to know how to sell. You got to learn how to close. And you have to understand the financial products that you're selling. And if you can't have success doing that, then you shouldn't recruit somebody else to do the same. So if you're watching this video, if it resonates what I'm saying, call me. We get on the phone every day. We train people. We don't recruit the masses. I got away from that a long time ago. Today, we only train the people that we can train on a personal level. I got over 7 trainers plus myself, and it's worked. So if you're watching this, give me a call. I offer free lead platform, a CPA platform, and obviously, if you're just looking for leads, I can help you with the leads, provide you with the training. And if you take my training, I guarantee you a 20% conversion ratio on first contact. Call me up. Take me up on word. Peace.